All right, now we should be ready to cook. What is going on, everybody? We're beginning. We are beginning the return of, or a Gengar Arc 2. A Gengar Arc 2. We're gonna see the project through in a more wholesome sort of way. Turn the army into what it thematically ought to be. I think it'll be much more satisfying, personally. Okay, so got some Neurogaunts here. Now I was I was trying to avoid doing the small dots as across these smaller Griblies, right? But I think there's a readability problem without them. So unfortunately, I think we're going to have to do some small dots. At least the bright purples. Well, that's really... Maybe that's too bright. Yeah, you know what? I think that just makes the auto-balancing of the video footage a bit poor, a bit worse. So we'll just leave the lighting as is. Okay, good news is, for the Gengar Arc 2, I picked up some essentials here. 3 Vallejo colors, and this is all we really need for the patterning. And the experiment worked well. I tried it out on this Von Ryan Leaper, and I think he turned out rather splendid, honestly. It looks right in line with what I want the patterning, the stippling to, well, how I want it to read, really. Because I found that on some of the other bugs I had done more recently, like the psychophages come to mind. I found they're a bit too dark. So these Vallejo colors are the proper path, and they're going to lead to a much stronger aesthetic. We'll see how bad I feel about the psychophages. I might end up redoing them in some capacity. Because they're just a bit too dark. But we can begin. So because these are smaller bugs, my initial idea was that they would have less patterning. Like I wanted to omit this brighter violet. But I think there is a bit of a readability problem, so we're going to add it in. But I'm going to try and be more sparing to, for one, reduce the workload. And for 2, I like the idea that these less mature, less sophisticated bugs just don't have as robust of a coconut crab patterning on them. So for the most part, we'll just keep it towards the middles. And go a bit deeper on these areas here, because this is a bit of a bigger plate over the shoulder. Wiener Dog Farts 20. Welcome to the stream. Excellent username, by the way. What is that unit on the thumbnail? It is one of these guys. It is a Neurogaunt. Much beloved. Very popular unit in Warhammer 40k. Yep, it's very competitive. Everyone likes to field them. It's so popular you can't even buy them anymore. Let's rough in a little bit of a uneven pattern here, just trying to create something interesting without going too deep into the carapace. Appa 1271, welcome to the stream. Some might even say one of the strongest in 10th. Yes, Appa, that is what some may say. Wiener Dog Fart says, thanks man, I get that a lot. With a username like that, I'm not surprised. Wiener Dog Fart says you can't buy them anymore. That makes sense as to why I've never seen them before. You actually can buy them. For the record, Wiener Dog. For the record, I was kidding. I was kidding. These are not very competitive units. But they are important. They are important for my custom Hive fleet. Very thematic choice. Very thematic choice. And I think it's my preferred fodder Gribbly small bug unit for Hive Fleet Gengar. I think it is the right choice. It's definitely what I would use for a thematic list build, if you get what I mean. Just put on some dots, break up those strips, those edges. You know, the good... I guess I can take some solace in that because the bugs are small, it's actually not so bad putting these patterns on them because there's less surface area. So it's about the same as a big bug. Maybe that's just cope. Maybe that is just the cope talking. But can you blame a guy for wanting to believe? Tramari, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Red says they're so cute, though. They are. They're absolutely like, oh, look at these little guys, right? Look at them. Amazing. Yeah, the leader has this big brain on his back. He's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool model. Look at that. I don't think he does anything in particular other than being a cool dude. I don't think there's any rules regarding him specifically. If memory serves. If memory serves. Yeah, I'm switching gears off of the Eldar now the Codex is out. You know how it is. You just, everyone, it's overpopular, everyone's all about them. It's like, you know what, it's time to do something else. Time to do something else. Okay, let's put some more dots on his forehead. His head plate, yeah, something sort of like this. I don't think you have to overthink it on these small bugs. Wiener Dog says they look tough. I like Zoanthropes a lot. Hell yes. Hell yes, Wiener Dog. They are, Zoanthropes are super cool. Classic. The classic kind of eldritch brain bug. Yeah, big into the brain bugs over here with Hive Fleet Gengar. Very on brand, very on theme. So we're beginning a bit of a Gengar arc, everybody, so you can get really excited. Though I will say, Artel has sent me some stuff on the way via the their what are they called? They're Shadow Specters called, I think, Doomghasts, if I recall correctly. So they sent me some of those and some other secret stuff, which will be exciting also. But in the time in between, I figured I might as well get a head start on the Gengar arc. Right, so we'll be doing Gengar pretty heavily here on the channel. And it should segue nicely with Mini Wargaming's worldwide narrative, I think. Which will be very cool. But there'll be a little bit of a Eldar side quest at some point with those Doomghasts. But I probably won't make a stream out of it. I might make a little bit of a video, a little bit of an unbox, a little bit of a review type situation. And then of course the spin job for the Phoenix Lord, because gotta complete the series, you know. If you guys aren't aware, I've been making these really cool, I think they're cool, these cool little YouTube shorts with the Phoenix Lords in rotation. And it's kind of fun pairing like a thematic little soundtrack to them. A little bit of fun playing with your toys. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, this Neurogaunt is going to be the best Neurogaunt ever. That's what we're going for. Got some Silent Hill spooky background music. Well, it's not so spooky. It's pretty chill, actually. But it felt like a good vibe. It felt like a good vibe for Hive Fleet Gengar. Tramari says a guy can dream. True. True. We can all dream. You gotta dream that Neurogons are good and useful on the tabletop. Look, you can use them for like extending synapse. Extending synapse and maybe doing actions. That's probably what you'll use them for. That's probably what'll end up happening. The guy can dream. But like the other units in the thematic Gengar list, you know, you got Zoanthropes, you got Maliceptors. Those are meaningful. Those are meaningful brain bugs. Right, you got Psychophages. I love those Psychophages. They're not big on the brain bug theme, the psyker theme, but they like eating psychers, which I really think is a great thematic pick. Really good thematic pick. And what else do Psychophages do? They give you a 6-up feel no pain? That's not nothing. Look, that could... You combine that with these Neurogons here. Oh, now you're cooking. That would be a winning combination. I think he's looking better for it. Yeah, I guess the dots. The dots are too They're too important. Thought I could get away with not doing them on the small bugs, but I think it's key. What else do we have here? I have my test scheme of the Leaper, who turned out great. I shared this. I shared, excuse me, some stills of this guy on the on some YouTube posts, on a YouTube post earlier today, for like a work in progress Wednesday. I think this guy looks fucking good, looking real good. You know, on the topic of Neurotyrants, I have two sets. Oh, you know, I acquired at the launch of 10th 2 sets of the Leviathan box, and because of that, I have 2 Neurotyrants, and I want to do something with the second Neurotyrant. Something a bit different, and I'm thinking of possibly doing a conversion to evoke the classic, I think, 2nd edition Zoanthrope design, where he's walking with the big brain and he got claws. He's got like rending claws. Kind of has the typical warrior style body type. I think that would be a real cool conversion for a walking Neurotyrant. Definitely going to look a bit more robust than the typical Neurotyrant, but it's a rule of cool, right? Plus, if you're going to have duplicate characters, it's kind of fun to do something different with them. I mean, look, that's definitely the case for your human factions, but I think for bugs, you can probably get away with not doing that kind of level of hobbying, because they're just bugs. They're just spawned. They're spawned the same way every time, right? But from a hobby enthusiast point of view, I think it's a missed opportunity to not dive into the creative freedom Tyranids afford. I'll put a little dot over here. It's a little outlier. Okay. Okay, we'll put a little extra spot here. Maybe an extra spot down here for good measure. Okay. What areas are next? Knee pads? Knee pads. What else can you call them though, right? They're certainly Tyranid knee pads. You know, we actually have to do his chin. These guys have... Let me just pull up a little bit of a reference here, actually. I think their chins are hard carapace, by the looks of it. Yeah, the lower jaw has a... Yeah, it's your carapace material. Tremari says, I think I have some decent origins for my homebrew chapter, but I could be whiffing it. I might drop by the Discord for a lore dump if that's okay. It's more than okay. Look, my Discord is a place of sharing your kind of hobby projects, right? so that's definitely okay. Yeah, working on a homebrew, it's like an attempt to, it's a quest to find that sweet spot, right? That tasteful middle ground of unique, creative, something uniquely yours that sparks your creativity and also doesn't feel like you're breaking the lore or doing something in poor taste, right? Contradicting something established, right? But I think you kind of, with a little bit of research, everyone can figure out where those lines are. Yeah, that's better. Look, I think I was running away from it, but it is ultimately the right choice. I probably don't need to do all the basing, the purple Tyranid basing features right now. I could probably do that later. Probably should keep things moving along here. On to the next one. Look, that's 2 of 11. And you know what? I have 2 squads of these guys. Oh, God. Oh, God. We'll have to break it up. Reward the completion of a boring squad with a satisfying unit. I think that's probably the right way to go about it. Maybe like a character. I do have a Nero Lictor that was built and partially painted, but like I mentioned earlier, the paint I put on it is... I didn't even get to the dots. I was just dividing the carapace for the stippling. But I found that they were just a bit too dark, so it's basically like a ground zero paint job situation. Tramari says, kind of reminds me of a parrot beak. True. Yeah, they definitely have that. Well, it's like an underbite, but because of the way that lower carapace, or the carapace on that lower jaw kind of basically overlaps everything. It definitely looks like a beak. Definitely looks like a beak. Alright, so we're just gonna make some squiggly shapes. Now over these stippled dots, right? There is a second process that occurs where we put a wash over the whole thing. It's a little bit of a mixed wash of quite a bit of Lamian Medium, Druchii Violet, and Nuln Oil. So it's like a dark purple. But because of all the Lamian Medium in there, you get a dulling, like a matte finished. Not quite a matte finish, but definitely closer to matte than satin. And it kind of ties everything together, helps push the saturation a little bit. But these new Vallejo paints this new Vallejo model color. So I don't know. I haven't bought model color since they've rebranded their packaging like this. But the finish on the paints are just like way more matte than they used to be, I feel. And if that's the intended result, I mean, I approve of that. Really makes the model easier to read. Much easier to read. We're painting those shoulders. Might have overdid it there on this side. Might have overblown the bright violet a little bit, but you know what? We'll dial it back with the dots. We'll probably be okay. You know what Neurogons should do? It's a crazy idea, okay? And it's a little out of the box, a little unorthodox as my rule, as my game mechanics preferences tend to be. But I think Neurogons would be way cooler if when you attach it to a unit, the leader that's leading them can fire or measure ranges for abilities of psychic abilities or psychic attacks through the Neurogons. How neat would that be? How neat would that be? I think that's much more interesting. Because right now it's like they extend synapse, but you have so many units that are pretty good that already give off synapse. So then what are they really providing, right? I mean, at the start of Leviathan, or at the start of 10th, when they debuted in the Leviathan box, they were paired as a leader and bodyguard unit for the Neuro Tyrant. But that was like doubly stupid because the Neuro Tyrant has an ability with the Neuroloids, these things, these little jellyfish markers, that extend synapse anyways. So it's just like over redundant, just overlapping features, and it further devalues what little utility Neurogons had by their design. But you know what? Given with any new edition kind of a new unit at the start of like a new army getting rules at the start of the edition, like Necrons in 9th, Tyrians in 10th, etc. There always seems to be a rushed sort of impression I get from the rules writing on those factions. Which is unfortunate. Unfortunate. It's too bad. But you know what? GW did address the terrible failings of like the Crusher Stampede detachment. So at least that's something. Oh yeah, and what I like to do on the tails is just add a little bit of patterning, just like the beginnings, you know, just like the furthest reaches of the stippling patterns. Red says, my wish for Neurogons is for them to have a proper get down, sir, for signups. Red, I request that you expand and elaborate. Tell me what you mean by this. You have intrigued me. Then their role can be disposable shield bugs. Oh, okay. Like the classic lookout, sir. Like you can just allocate damage to synapse creatures nearby. That would work. That would work as a utility piece. I get the impression GW does not want to do that because they've been bad touched by doing that in the past with things like shield drones, maybe. Or maybe they just had some big-brained idea with Neurogons extending synapse as per the cinematic. As per the Leviathan cinematic. Tremari says, I've been curious about something for a while. What scale are the Battlefleet Gothic ships? I've tried looking, but the best I can find as an answer is being 2 to 10 centimeter models. It doesn't really help. I would like to have the Rock and the Invincible Reason as potential models. Yeah, I don't know about that, Tremari. The scale issue. I haven't really played much Battlefleet Gothic myself. Thought it was neat. I've printed a few STLs for like a campaign, like a narrative piece before, but not playing proper battles. Though I can confirm that the Gloriana class battleships are huge. They're huge, man. They are huge. Wait, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We gotta start with our gray color. Gotta start with the gray color. Gotta break up that purple stuff. So I wonder how few dots I can get away with on these smaller bugs, right? Like two or three per segment. How would that vibe with the aesthetic? It'd probably be okay. We need to fix that area here first, which is a bit annoying. But what can you do? What can you do? Tramari says, gotta bounce. You take care, Tramari. Thanks for stopping by. You have a good evening. I shall remain here, grinding out these dots. I don't think there's much space on the smaller shells, so I probably won't do too many black dots. We'll probably shift right into the purples. So what is on the schedule for the channel, barring the personal projects of Hive Gengar? Content-wise, I mean, well, I do believe I have a Grimdark Therapy scheduled for Friday, and that'll be published on Northern Exile's channel, which I will make a YouTube post on my channel when it is when it goes live. And on my channel, I was actually thinking of, I was looking at the Imperial Guard's Siege Regiment, because I think it's kind of disappointing. I think there's a really interesting potential rule set there that would really offer something interesting mechanically that was kind of missed. So I think I want to do like a critique, or maybe we'll call it like a detachment autopsy or something. Because I think it fails. It fails in what it could be thematically. So I'm thinking of maybe doing that sort of a video for this week. Yeah, we probably don't need to go too robust on the dots on these small bugs. If there's no space, maybe that's the natural outcome of this creature's, like how the patterns manifest on a creature of this size. Maybe that's just what it is, you know? Don't have to stress about it. You know, like right here on this crest, there's not a lot of space, so it is what it is. They are kind of, they got that infantile sort of thing going for them, right? So So maybe I can lean into that. Lean into that to justify my hobby conscience. Red says, gonna scurry away, have fun painting. You take care, Red, and thanks for stopping by. Right, so regarding that that alternative walking Norn, not Norn, Nero Tyrant that is evocative of the classic Zoanthrope conversion concept. I'm wondering if a Lictor, the new Lictor, is the right scale. That's what I'm wondering. Does he have the right size? So that is something I'm looking to verify. Yeah, because the anatomy of the Lictor is probably correct. It has the upright stature. It has those warrior style legs. I would just hope it's a little bit bigger than a warrior. Because I checked the warrior prime relative to the Nero Tyrant, and it's quite a bit shorter. So I'm hoping a Lictor is a bit bigger. I realize I forgot to do these purple dots on this parasite up here. Very important to paint your parasites. Oh, the joys. The joys of painting dots. You know, with the benefits of hindsight, would I have gone with these dot patterns? I think the classic feathered carapaces do look quite good. And probably adequate enough to add that visual interest. You could also do like a tiger striping, which I think could look neat. You would see some of those on artwork examples in older Tyranid codexes for kind of ways to, I think they were shown as ways to designate splinter fleets. I think that was the context they were shared in. Francois, welcome to the stream. Just noticed your message there in chat. I wasn't ignoring you, I swear. I was just too focused, too dialed in. You know, painting these dots is very demanding of the concentration. All of that said, I appreciate you stopping by and checking out the stream. What's on your hobby desk today? Are you continuing your Wraith Guard? That dot's a bit too large. We're just gonna have to blend that in. Okay. There we go. I think we saved it. I think we saved it. Okay, and then the knee pads, and then I think Neurogaunt 3's stippling is complete. Well, complete enough. Okay, so that knee pad is borked. Completely borked. Francois says just got a 1/8 scale Rin Shima anime girl on a scooter in the mail today. Super excited for that. But yes, millions of soul stones on my desk at the moment. Quite a lot of soul stones, indeed. On all those wraith bodies, right? Yeah, I don't have any reference to the anime girl on scooter, but I'm happy you're pumped. It's always good to receive things you've ordered. It's a good feeling. Francois says you're not doing the pointillism as a one-off. You're insane, bro. Are you doing a whole army? I have 2,000 points of Gengar already with this coloration, with this patterning. Am I insane? Perhaps I am. But I think it's an important unit to have in the army. Returning to a second round of Hive Fleet Gengar, a whole arc for them. So it should result in a very, very, very thematic form of the army. Much more to my preferences anyways. It's actually similar to the Eldar, right? Like I had this when I started the Beal-Tan army. I started with a bunch of wraiths because I basically got them in a deal for super cheap. And it happened to coincide with an event that was a bit more teethy, a bit more demanding of the efficient list building, the not so thematic list building. And so I ended up with this army that was like, oh, it's not really what I would want for my Eldar Beal-Tan collection, right? Like, I don't mind the Rangers and Guardians, Warwalkers, Shroud Runners. Those are all cool. But I don't necessarily want to lean into Wraith Guards and Wraiths. I kind of like the Aspect Warrior stuff more so, along with the kind of staples that I mentioned previously. But over time, as you're probably aware, the Beal-Tan army became the thematic kind of collection that I wanted it to be, and now I'm seeing that set right with Hive Fleet Gengar. Ricardo Alonso, welcome to the stream. Ricardo says, looking great. Oh, thank you, Ricardo. What's going on with you, Ricardo? Got anything cool on your hobby desk? I'm just going to do a little bit of dots here. Another one here-ish. Oh, God. Oh, God. I lost complete control. Look, that can happen, okay? Sometimes you can't avoid peril, okay? There, you gotta clean that up. We'll just stipple blend it back in. Where it should be okay. All right. Look at that. We got 3. 3 of 11. Bam. We're making progress. Okay, so let's do the block-in of our brighter violet. Francois says Rin Shima is some anime I've never seen, but I really wanted to do a larger model, like a bust that isn't Warhammer, and she has a Vespa scooter and lots of textures, so it looked fun. I see. Well, I can always appreciate a hobby project that can serve as a nice palette cleanser. And Ricardo says BA Blood Angels, I assume, currently. Oh, Blood Angels are cool. Blood Angels are neat. And they're, they have a particularly nice representation on the tabletop, I think, at the moment. Rules-wise, I mean. And model-wise, pretty good too, I guess. You know, I don't love the Sanguinary Guard, the new ones, but I think it opens up some creative opportunities for those so inclined. Really flex their conversions or kit bashing options. Oh, didn't realize how far I drifted off frame. Okay, we're gonna block in this. Yeah, these model color paints, I am really digging them. They got a real nice matte quality to them. Okay, you know, actually I need to get more of the standard purple. More of the standard purple. Purple and light violet from model color. Those are the two. You know, I saw them on the paint rack, and I was like, I need new purples to continue Gengar. And I saw many options on a paint rack, as you do. And I eyeballed it, and I couldn't be happier. It was like such a win. Such a hobby purchase win to just eyeball the paints you want and then have it yield exactly as intended. Ricardo says, I have planned a zombie hive fleet, Fey Court, Eldar, and Bloodborne Blood Angels? If I got all that right. Oh, it's maybe a zombie hive fleet? Like an undead hive fleet? That could be pretty interesting there, Ricardo. That could be pretty interesting if I'm interpreting that correctly. A Fey Court Eldar is like that. So like an Exodite themed Eldar army? sort of more focused on the druidic wood elf theme. Francois says been working on another competition model too. The paint challenge is skin tones. So I'm trying something I've never seen anyone do before. A bog mummy. Interesting. A bog mummy. Is it like a swamp mummy? Is that what a bog mummy is? Or is that like a D&D thing and I'm just out of the loop? Rock Brawny, welcome to the stream. Misfit, also, I see you there. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Okay, so I think most of the areas are filled in for the light violet block-ins. Well, we gotta do the knee pads. Every Tyrannid child needs to have knee pads. Gotta protect your soft baby Tyrannid knees. Let's push back the light violet over here and bring in some more purple. Rock Brawny says, Brahm, I just painted a test model recently to try out my new Pro Acryl paints. Oh, very nice. I just painted the best face and blonde hair I've ever painted. That's a nice thematic win. Puts a good feather in your cap there, Rock Brawny. Oh, you painted the best face and hair on the Hearthkin you cared about the least. That's funny. Well, you know, after the fact, it's funny. But I can appreciate your frustration if that's what you're going through. Francois says, bog mummies turn black from tannins in the peat bog, but they have a weird sheen. Interesting. Misfit says, I've begun to feel an urge to do nids next. Nids are... They're pretty cool, I want to say, but I feel, for me personally, the rules, the detachment rules leave much to be desired for the kinds of themes I would prefer. But that's, you know, the nature of things. The nature of things. Nids offer a ton of creative opportunities, I think. If you're someone who likes to create custom creatures or units, even if you just want to, you know, use normal data sheets, not homebrew stuff. There's lots of, you know, creative opportunities for NIDS because you can evolve different bioorganisms for whatever purposes you want, whatever theme you want your Hive fleet to evoke. You can start combining kits or green stuff in. Super fun stuff. Real good hobby opportunities there. Francois says the lack of oxygen and the high alkaline of the water, along with the lack of current, ends up preserving the bodies and turning them into mummies over hundreds of years. Ah, interesting. Okay, I get what you're saying. Rock Brawny says, oh yeah, it's funny, I'm proud of it, but also amused at the fact it's amused at the fact it's the model in the unit I cared about least, Magna Rail. Hey, isn't the Magna Rail super cool, though? Isn't that, like, the coolest heavy weapon they got? I feel like if you have an army that possesses such technologies as rail cannons and rail guns, I don't know. I feel like that's like a default. I would personally default that as like, oh, that's the coolest guy in the squad. Look at him. Look at him with his railgun. What a badass, right? Such a rare weapon. Okay, we're gonna get some more German Gray. That's what this is. German Gray. The third of our Hive Fleet Gengar colors. These are the official colors of Hive Fleet Gengar. I am making it so. I'm declaring it as such. It's happening live. These are the new official colors. Okay, and now we just break up the... we need a heavier amount of water in that gray. There's a sweet spot of how hydrated you want your brush to be to quickly put dots down. Or else it becomes like not a user-friendly time. And that's not what we want. Actually, I might have to clean up some of those purple block-ins a little bit. But I think I can wait until after the gray is applied. Rock Brawny says, I like both, but Hylas is better. Interesting. Interesting. Better for personal aesthetic preferences, or better on the tabletop? Do you like it better for wholesome reasons, or for filthy meta-chasing rules reasons? That is the question. I only poke fun, by the way. I can appreciate the wanting of a good time for all the work that goes into the hobby, right? So then you have to a degree, default to the rules which are functional. If your play group or personal preferences kind of create that framing. So I totally get it. Totally get it. I think we gotta start blocking in more purples. It's kind of like a 2/3, 1/3 ratio on the block-ins. That's how it's supposed to be. And for the first few, I thought, you know what, these guys are supposed to be the babies of the Tyranids, kind of. So maybe the patterning would be lesser. But I think that just makes it harder to apply. So maybe it's not worth it. Let's see here. Oh, it seems like I missed some chat stuff. Let's see here. Misfit says, depends on what Kit Bash ideas I come up with. I feel like doing a theme where they are all adapted to a particular environment, i.e. aquatic. Okay, yeah. Pick an environmental type. and then field those kinds of units or create that kind of, you know, collection. Yeah, I'm into that. It's like part of the reason why I like Jormungandr so much. It's like they're all about ground-based tunneling, underground creatures. Super cool. Super cool. Ricardo Alonso says, yes for the assumptions, but rather expedite only. It's an aesthetic mesh. Drukari, Yanari, Asriani. Kind of last days of the elves to the army. Oh, okay. Oh, but rather expedite only. It's an aesthetic mesh. Okay, I think I understand the theme you're outlining there, Ricardo. Rock Brawny says Plasma Beamer looks awesome, and the L7 and Magna are met in my opinion, appearance-wise. Oh, really? Okay, I'll have to take a look at the. I can't remember what the L7 looks like for the life of me. I remember the railgun fairly well. Generally, I like the aesthetic of the Votan weapons. I think they're pretty stellar. Pretty stellar aesthetics. I think if I was a Deathwatch collector, I would be using lots of Votan weapons in my army. Rock Brownie says the Beamer is a bit subpar, but can spike hard. Oh, okay, one of these Yahtzee situations. Okay, so I dial back the light violet with our purple color. And there was another area I want to adjust right here. And probably back here. And we'll add a bit of a stippling, a little bit of stippling. Misfit says, one thing that could be interesting for aquatic nids is modifying / replacing wings with more ocean-based alternative like manta-like wings. Okay, yeah, you could take a lot of anatomical design features from those underwater creatures, right? I'm trying to imagine like jellyfish sort of tendrils. Those kinds of those would be great features for like brain bugs personally. Your floaty I mean these guys are like already like jellyfish adjacent, right? So I think that could be pretty I think it would harmonize with the Tyranid's aesthetics in a lot of cases. Okay, so I guess we're on to that purple stuff. I want some of that purple stuff. Just try not to overthink it. Just try and apply these dots. I'll try to do one side at a time fully for the purple pass. And then we'll do the other side afterwards, but while it may seem like we've just broken up the gray, the German gray to purple, but now we gotta break the light violet to purple. So it's like the middle step takes twice as long because there's two different materials we're trying to blend to. Well, I need to adjust the ratio of water here. Francois says, are they really a Votan weapon, or are they a Man of Iron weapon? Yeah, you're probably right, Francois. It's like, I'm sure there's some influence from the kin, as they term themselves, that goes into the weapon designs, right? But they're certainly human-adjacent weapons, as far as any of the Xenos weapons a Death Watch vet could appropriate. You know, they even have like their own bolt cannons and stuff, which just look awesome. Just look awesome. Well, I guess that is where this guy sits. Okay, let's go for the other side. Let's go for it. Well, I didn't expect vocals in this playlist. I don't think YouTube will mind. We'll see. Okay, next is the Parasite on this side, breaking up the, well, both colors, really. Rock Brawny says, oh, the League's tech has the same origin and base STCs as human tech. But here's a fun fact, the kin are not abhumans. Is that right? They are not the... I thought squats were abhumans. But are they... Is this a retcon, or is there a difference between what was old and what we have as the Leagues of Votan army? That is the question. Oh, here's another question. I've been thinking about perhaps structuring a hobby stream using like a shared watch together type situation where maybe like a hobby hang while like a group watch of a bat rep or something like that. Something, Warhammer adjacent. Would that be like an interesting idea? Would that be more enjoyable? Perhaps? I think it could be. Rock Brawny says a retcon. Ah, I see. Interesting. Well, look, I don't... It's probably necessary if you want to classify them as Xenos. You probably want to do that. But I mean, I would be okay if they want to term them as Xenos, but still have them be abhumans that just, went their own way many moons ago. To be honest with you, I thought that was the case. Oh, we need more water. Hopefully it's not too much. Rock Brawny says an abhuman is a subspecies that comes about through natural evolution in a certain environment. According to the kin, they have never been anything else other than kin. And the Iron Kin were there from the beginning. From the start, they were clones all made from genetic templates and random algorithms. Clones that were engineered by the humans before the Man of Iron Rebellion. Now, depending on where and who in the Imperium POV you see them from. I appreciate the lore dump there, Rock Brony. Yeah, Votan lore is not something I've dived into all that much. I do have a... I think it's the newest Dawn of Fire book that features Votan in some capacity. Now, I haven't looked into reviews, if the book is good or mid or bad. I think it might be mid to bad, but eventually I'll read it. Eventually. And hopefully I'll learn a little bit more. A little bit more about the Votan. The leagues of Votan. Oh, I see you've added more Rock Brony. Where did I leave off? Now, depending on where and who in the Imperium POV you see them from, they are abhuman or Xenos. Okay, so it's not a hard retcon, but it leaves a narrative lens for you to classify them as either or, as you've sort of laid out. Rock Brawny says, "Yep, Dawn of Fire Hand of Abaddon. I heard it's decent." Well, that's good. There was also the first and only Votan novel, The High Cowl's Oath. Also, could you repeat that question about a watch together? I didn't hear it properly. Sure. I was just thinking of, I don't know, it could be a replacement to this current format of hobby hangs, or not. It could just be something like a one-off or a semi-regular alternative. But the idea would be that we could have a hobby hang with a watch together component of something Warhammer related, probably like a battle report or something. On the streaming side of it, I probably wouldn't output the audio of the stream of the bat rip, because it's like I want to be, obviously respectful to other content creators and not just have this hypothetical stream replace a view for them, right? So the idea would be whoever wants to join in could join the watch together, watch it, stream it on their side, and it's all synced up through watch together. And then I'll just have the visuals of the watch together And I think that should be fine, and I'll do all the plugs and recommendations for, you know, subscribe and check out or whatever. Because it'd be rude not to. It's an idea of sorts. It's an idea of sorts. It would certainly eat up the dead air, you know, because I'm not talking 24/7 while I'm hobbying. That was a little bit of a nice part of having the group streams with the bundos that I used to do. The buds from my local gaming group. Because then they could chat while I hobby. Which, selfishly, I like. Yeah, I don't know, it was just an idea. Okay, so we got the light violet bleeding to purple on the head, and carapace, so we just have to do it on the parasite on this side. And then we get a few more. Rock Bronny says, may I recommend Baltimore's video on the Leagues of Votan? You can, and you have. And Rock Bronny says you could always ask for permission first. Very true. That's easy enough to do in the modern times. I don't suspect it would be a source of problems to just do it without a formal request, especially because there's no audio of the original source being output. It would all be through, you know, each individual user's watch together. So you literally could not just watch the stream and have the same experience as watching the original battle report. So it should pass all those transformative checks. Okay, so this guy has the stippling complete, I think. Knee pads are good enough. Yep. Yep. Oh boy, that makes 4. did I say earlier? I said we should consider expanding these purple areas to the 2/3 standard, like normal bugs. It probably makes it easier. And this guy looks like I've done that already, which is good. The parasite could use a bit more, though. Certainly could use a bit more. Faceplate is fine. Oh, he's missing the chin. They are really nice models for such a terrible unit on the tabletop. But look, it's for the thematic list. It's for the thematic list. We gotta make sure our lists are thematic. I think it's the right choice. And on this side, we've missed the parasite's head completely. How embarrassing. Eater of Crabs, welcome to the stream. Asks, are those Neurogaunts? Yes, they are Neurogaunts. Very, very competitive, very popular unit choice. You know me, I'm a filthy meta chaser, so we gotta do it. We gotta do it. Francois says, whoa, YouTube is censoring the 40K term for AI. Not exactly, I don't exactly understand what you mean by that. Censoring the 40K term for AI. I need to source some sort of basing feature for a custom Norn, like a dead. I don't want to do a dead demon, because I already have that. I already did that already. I'm thinking like a dead librarian or something, or a dead librarian dreadnought. That would be really cool. Need to source something. Surely there are STLs for librarian dreadnoughts in the ether. Because I think that would be like an awesome basing feature for a Norn emissary. Especially for High Fleet Gengar. You know, it's right on theme. Right on theme for that anti-psyker sort of vibe, you know? It's just all sorts of chef's kiss levels of tasteful. Rock Brawny says you could always just run them as other Gaunts, right? Well, not really. Not really, Rock Brawny. They are technically a different base size. New Gaunts and New Termagants and Hormagaunts are on 28 bases, which I believe only the node beast guy is on. And these ones are, 25. It's a bit smaller, as you can see. So technically, you could not use it as the other, but I wouldn't personally. I'm more of a... I will eat the inefficiency for a thematic list. I have zero issue with that. Like I see, I've been watching not a ton of battle reports lately, but for a while I just haven't been watching any, and then I decided to watch some over the weekend, and I watched a Winter's SEO battle report. The one, I think it's the newest one with the Emperor's Children, and it features Sultan from Sultan Plays and his Raven Guard. And Sultan's army collections are like the way I prefer armies to be. Like they are filled with essentially only thematic choices, for better or for worse. And I just think it makes the lists very interesting and aesthetically pleasing. Right, like a Raven Guard list that isn't using big, chunky stuff, it doesn't have the Land Raider Redeemer with the flamers, right? It has land speeders and Phobos infantry and K-Band Shrike with Vanguard vets, that sort of thing. And in that same way, I prefer Hive Gengar to use Neuro Gantz for their fodder bugs. Let's trail down some purple on the tail. It almost creates the illusion like that's how the carapace forms. Troy, welcome to the stream. Just your message. How's it going? Troy asks, is that Silent Hill in the music? Beautiful movie. It is Silent Hill. It's a Silent Hill playlist. Links in the description. It's from my YouTube channel I quite like, which is thematic kind of playlist from different OSTs from games, usually. I would 100% recommending a subscribe if you're into that. But yes, Silent Hill. This is Silent Hill music. It's a vibe. I like it. Definitely gets you in a mood. It's pretty chill, but not too uppity. More reserved. Yeah, it's probably fine. Probably fine for this guy. Troy says, should have one award for Best Picture and Story for a cult film based on a game. Perhaps. Yeah, maybe. It's been a while since I've seen the Silent Hill movies. But if it's a close adaptation to the game stories, yeah, it's strong, right? 'Tis strong. Okay, so I guess we begin the great stippling. Pyro says, oh, Pyro, how's it going? How is it going, Pyro? Welcome to the stream. Pyro says, hello there, I see Nids I like. Oh, well, thank you kindly, Pyro. And for Tiamat, I plan to use Neurogons instead of Hormigons due to the spires and stuff. Hell yes. Tiamat, or Tiamat is... however you pronounce it, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Tiamat. I think they deserve their own chapter tactic, or whatever you want to call it. Detachment, I guess. That's what the detachment should have been. The Grotmist detachment for Tyranids obviously should have been either Kronos or Tiamat, right? Something territorial. You have these templates already that exist, like control the battles, control different objectives in those zones, and in those different areas of the battlefield, they give you different perks. I think the template writes itself. It would have been really cool for Tiamat fans and just fans in general, rather than this generic warrior detachment. I think that's super lame. Super lame Grotmist detachment. Especially when there's obvious lacks. I mean, I have other thoughts of Tyranid detachments that are just like how it could be done better, basically. But I wouldn't expect those for a Grotmist. I would just expect, like, oh, what factions exist in lore that don't exactly have good representation through detachments currently? And I figured that would be the metric, which would essentially serve as a pathway to get a Tiamat detachment. Right? Fight harder on objectives. That's another detachment template we could use for Tiamat. Okay, we'll break up all the black sections this way. Yeah, don't get too much breakup of the black sections on these smaller guys. Sort of lack in resolution. Lacking the resolution on such small carapace. Alright, let's get some more water. I love the idea of a Tiamat detachment. A defensive shooty detachment, let's term it, as with an enhancement that allows a Hive Tyrant to lead. Crazy idea. Hive Guard instead of Tyrant Guard, and they all get a benefit if they shoot at the same thing. How neat is that? That's such a cool flex for a defensive shooty kind of detachment, or Hive Fleet Tiamat. Kind of borked the knee pad over on the other side. What can we do about this? Unfortunately, I don't think there is too much. Or really run out of purple quick. Pyro says a shooty control type detachment. Yes, essentially. Yeah, like a defensive shooting oriented detachment. Defensive, I guess, it could be used aggressively as well, but defensive just with regards to controlling objectives. I think it should be objective oriented. It should be time it should care about territory. I think that's the right way you evoke their themes relative to the current attachments that are available. Pyro says, also trying my first Monster Hunter in Monster Wilds. Pretty fun. I wish to face the Angry Pickle. Maybe I should make an Angry Pickle as a mid. Well, the reference is lost on me because I've been avoiding, in a sense, Monster Hunter Wilds. I do not wish to embark. I also don't know if my PC could run it adequately. And maybe it could, but it definitely looks pretty demanding. And also, I can't give to Monster Hunter right now. Unfortunately, look, how am I gonna paint these dots if I'm playing Monster Hunter, right? That's what it comes down to. It's just not gonna happen. Well, I was gonna continue this guy here. But I probably should wrap up as I have other responsibilities. So I think we'll call it here. Well, we'll do a little bit of a review. Look, painted 3. Painted 3 Neurogons. These cute little guys. Super exciting stuff. Naturally, right? These sorts of units, very expensive, very crucial elements to any Tyranid army. But all of that aside, I think they're a thematic win. I'm going to see them through. And I think when it's all said and done, they're going to look spectacular. Because the Hive Fleet Gengar aesthetic is, it takes to photos well. Which is something of a reward for all the effort that goes into them. Pyro says, I play on the most potato settings. You should be fine. PC from 2019 and is called low gen. Well, fair enough, Pyro. The question is Lagiacrus's armor in Monster Hunter Wilds? That is something of a sticking point for me. But even then, yeah. I need to get this army together for the mini wargaming narrative stuff, which I'm pretty pumped for. I'm more pumped for that than getting into an action RPG, let's say. Alrighty, guys. Well, if you made it to the end of the stream here, you are the real hobby heroes. Thanks to everyone who tuned in and shared in the hobby camaraderie. And with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one.